Hey guys, it's Brice here, and I'm with my friend Shane.
Hi guys.
And we just wanted to show you something that we've been doing since the pandemic and isolation to make sure that we still got the chance to enjoy Marvel Champions that we love so much. Well, why don't you set the scene for our audience, Shane? Where are we now, and what time of year is it, and what have we been through?
So we've been in lockdown here in Melbourne, Australia since about March. So I haven't seen Bryce's face in real life for about 6 months. And we probably caught up every week or just about every week, probably in Melbourne or at various houses to play Marvel Champs and do all that. So about a month in, we sort of talked about the fact that how are we going to replicate this experience? We can't see each other. So, we've tried TTS and everyone logging onto TTS and that had its issues. And we tried just doing it over Zoom and various platforms, and we would try and tilt our cameras so everyone could see each other's board states, and that didn't quite work as well. So I think over about probably a 6-week period, we sort of talked about things, and Brice was able to come up with some ideas using a mix of TTS and video. We've used Zoom and Discord and a range of different channels. So we're now successfully every week we catch up online, and we're able to play our Marvel Champs and catch up and have that social aspect that Marvel Champs brings everyone together. And we can not only play the game solo, but now we weekly get to do our multiplayer catch-ups and actually socialise around the game that we love.
Absolutely. Good summary. And I think you covered everything. Some of the main reasons that we've gone with this solution is obviously it works remotely because we, according to government law, we really can't see each other right now. I physically couldn't come to your house. That's too far for me to go. And I certainly
Well,
can't
5 kilometres.
socialize with you. Yeah. Um, and I think one of the things that we love about this solution is we love cards. We love being able to play with our cards, tap our cards, shuffle our decks. And that's one of the things that makes this feel real and like what we used to be able to do. So I wanted to find a solution where we still got this, but we also got the benefit of being able to easily see the board state, especially for the villain. That's been the key thing. So take the hero state, leave that as a physical thing that you can still enjoy with and interact, and then mix in Tabletop Simulator. So not all of you might be familiar with Tabletop Simulator, or maybe you've tried it and it hasn't been for you. But I think there's a couple of reasons why this is a really good solution for Marvel Champs. So I'll just share my screen.
And why
So for those
you
of you
get
don't,
that ready for us?
yeah,
One thing that people need to know is like what one drawback that we had is we had people on different platforms. So I've got a computer, you've got a computer, but our third player generally plays on an iPad. So playing on TTS and all of us at once playing on TTS is something that we've tried to avoid. I personally can't stand playing on TTS. Like I need physical cards. Every time I've tried to play board games on TTS, it's just been painful for me. So
tell the
so
audience how you really feel, Shane. Tell them how you
that's
really
it.
feel.
That's it. So like this is really a perfect medium where I get to play my board state. I get to play with my cards, as you said. But I can look up, I can see and interact with my friends, but I can also then automatically see the same villain state as everyone else. We can obviously see the threat, the side schemes, all the minions, everything else, and also the way Brice runs is fantastic. I'm sure he'll go through it with you.
All right, so what do you need to do this solution? That's probably a really good starting point. So you need one person who has Tabletop Simulator, who's purchased that. And it's about $20 US, but you can get it on special if you time it right. So only one of you out of the group needs to buy that. Not everybody needs to have that expense. And probably whoever has the nicest computer that can, run it quite comfortably. If you're running 10-year-old computer, you might struggle a little bit. All right, so you've purchased Tabletop Simulator for about $20 US, step one. Installed it, got it going. Next thing you need to do is install one of the Marvel Champions mods. So we'll just share screen here. Some people, there's plenty of tutorials online for how to install mods in case you have any issues with it. But Crimson Workshop, the Marvel Champions LCG one, that's the one that, we've tested them all, I think, Shane. But that's the one that really
Yeah.
worked the
Yeah,
best
look,
for us and had a...
yeah. Yeah, we've used quite a number, but I think this mod also for those people that have playing a lot and also the amazing custom content that's around in the community now. It also has that, which is just gives you an extra avenue to try some different things that the community is creating as well.
So you normally load up the mod by clicking it here and loading it. Might take a minute or two, especially if it's your first time to load all the content. And my favorite way to play it, especially for our player who's on an iPad, is to push the keyboard shortcut P twice to go to first person camera. You move around with the WASD, and there's a ton of content in here. So here you've got all the stuff that comes in the core set, your villains and your standard encounter sets, and some of the extra ones that came out, Wrecking Crew's in there, Goblin Gimmicks. We've got these awesome counters, hit point counters for all the heroes that have been released so far, including Hulk, which just got released 2 days ago, yesterday, something like that. And then you've got some custom hit point counters for some of the villains, not all the villains, but some of them. And then all the hero content is here. So we've got, all our released heroes. Hulk's not quite in there yet, but again, there's mods you can use to get him in. The playmats with some hit point counters on them that we find really cool for sort of managing that. And then the real treasure trove that Shane and I have been delving into and Todd have been delving into recently is all this custom content. Just custom creators out there making really cool stuff, Civil War, Dr. Octopus, we had fun with him. Just everything. And you got stuff that people have been pining for so far in Marvel Champs. We've got Fantastic Four, we got X-Men, Justice League. So yeah, that's just been a huge bit of fun while we're waiting for Rise of Red Skull, Shane, just to have a bunch of new content to play around with.
Yeah, and look at the hats off to all those custom content creators out there. Like we've played obviously multiple scenarios of all the stuff that's officially been released, and it's always fun. But to be able to jump into other campaigns and other worlds and play the Infinity Gauntlet campaign, play against Doctor Doom. We had a great night where we played some villains against Krennic and the Death Star was approaching and things like that. And just that, and I think that the value of this game is it's such a social, fun game. And now that we've got the experience that we can actually do this remotely and now add custom content, it's just added another level. So that mod specifically for tabletop is great.
Now, there's not too much else that I wanted to go over because I think we've talked about how to get Tabletop Simulator running. There's that benefit that you don't all need to have a fancy computer. You don't all need to even be running on computers. Our friend Todd, he only runs on an iPad week to week. But there will be a few questions about how we set it up to work. So this is evolved over the course of time, but this is sort of our favorite setup here at the moment, where we've got a playmat for each player with hit point counters so that we can tell each other's health. And we found that that's really important information to have shared amongst us so that, if someone's about to die, you can med team them or night nurse them or defend for them. It's just, it's added a different element to the game of memory where you have to kind of know the other person's board state based on things they've said.
That's right.
Has that been a challenge, do you reckon, Shane, to sort of remember what each other's board state is?
Yeah, and that's been probably the benefit of us doing this over the last several months is that we've evolved the system and why I guess we wanted to share it with the community so that, those teething problems where hopefully, you can learn from the things that we've done. And what we learned is it's actually the visual nature that you would get across the table. Like I can look across the table and see, you've got 4 hit points left. I can see you've got 3 minions engaged with you. I can see where you're going. I can see you're exhausted, all of those. So what we've evolved over the time is not only the villain board state, but just to have simple board state for each of our heroes, what mode, whether they're exhausted, put minions, and then other little triggers. So we often use text boxes for things like if someone puts like a counter attack down or a preparation card on someone else or something like that. So it just gives that visual information that when we were playing it in real life, you look across the table and I can see that, and that helps my decision making. Now what we've got is we've actually got that information on TTS. So we have some simple states down the bottom with our heroes there, and I can automatically see that Steve Rogers in alter ego mode, so that if I'm going to play an ally, I'm going to get the benefit, and we can talk about that and we can see it. So the great thing that we do is we drag all the different statuses onto both players and villains, but we also can have things like minions and things like that pulled into play. So it just helps us being able to see exactly what it looks like. And I know that someone's got we've been playing Infinity Gauntlet, so I've got an Outrider in front of me. I know that, and we can sort of deal with it.
Yeah, and I think it's probably worth saying that we've tried going further than this in terms of replicating the board state. So we've gone, there've been games where I tried putting all the allies that were down, or how many arrows were left on Hawkeye. But that's the point where it really got a little bit cumbersome to keep up with all that maintenance. Whereas I feel like we've actually probably become better players now in recognizing each other's board state through this. I can't see your board state, so I actually have to listen. If you played Quinn Carrier last turn, I know that I'm not playing it for the rest of the game unless something happens to it. And that's just a new thing that I just lock into my brain. Whereas sometimes you get lazy sitting across the table from each other and you don't see that they've already played a Quinn Carrier and you can't. So I think it's probably made us better players too.
It's definitely made us better team members, I think, because what we've done is we've got to learn how each other's decks play and the various decks that we bring in, and so we know how they sort of work together. And then it means that we're having better conversations across the table. We're not just literally sitting there waiting for someone's turn to finish and go, all right, now it's my turn. Oh, what have you done? I'll look at the table. We're actually talking through it and saying, this is what I'm thinking of doing, this is what I'm doing, I'm putting this card down, so that we can sort of visualize it. And then it also means that we're having the conversation, well, if you're going to do that, I was actually going to play this. Is that going to be better for you? And we're actually getting better interactions. And I reckon over the last month, our team game over the last month it's been super fun, because we've been able to trigger things off each other and we've played more cards on other characters through this medium than we had when we were doing it in real life, because we're actually communicating as I reckon the game designers wanted it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to make this video too long, so just before we wrap up, are there any things that we still are trying to work on, or you think that could still use a bit of work? I don't purport that this is like a perfect system. Obviously, we're limited by internet connections, or someone could be limited by internet connections. So we've tried a lot of different screen sharing applications, tools. We're using Zoom today just because I'm familiar with it and it's easy to record. But would you say Discord has been our best tool for sharing?
I think Discord has been the best medium for being able to set up your computer as the main stream and then have all the other videos on the side. I know that's the way that I've been running it on my computer, so that yours is the main screen, but I can still see everyone's face, so there's that connection. Look, there's always going to be different tweaks depending on how people run it. I guess the biggest thing will be is that there is a lot incumbent on the person running TTS. So I know that every Saturday, you're the one that's running the whole show and things like that. So, if you're going to run this for your team, I would spend some time maybe doing a little bit of solo TTS if you haven't used it before, because there is a lot to do, a lot of little triggers. And as the scenarios get more and more complicated, there's more things to do, obviously with the villain state and board states and things like that. So, but, have someone that is comfortable enough to do that, but also is willing to have the energy to do that, because they've got to do a lot. They've got to update all the different counters and things like that. So, Todd and I spend a lot of time going, Brice, this one or this one. So there is a lot of that, but the experience has been so rewarding. And now we have a Saturday night that everyone looks forward to, and we get to play the game we love.
Absolutely. And you also have a lot of patience for me late at night when it starts to get around 11 and 12, where you're like, Brice, put 2 more health on. Brice, this is tapped. I'm in alter ego. So thank you for that. Your patience with me when my brain starts to dip. I think that's a really good intro to what we do and why we do it and why we think it's a really good solution. We've introduced it to a few friends who also are doing it regularly now. So I'd love you guys, more of the Marvel Champions audience out in the world, to take advantage of, not a great situation in the world right now, but have a chance to play Marvel Champions with people in other countries, with your mates just down the road who the law says you can't go and visit. This is a good chance to enjoy Marvel Champions and really dive in, especially we're so excited for Rise of Red Skull next month, hey Shane? And just a chance to
Cannot
dive
wait.
into all those. Yeah, so much good content. All right, well, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much, Shane, for joining me, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.